Hello, welcome to Witchy and Well's Soul Medicine, a show where we chat with folks who have found a way to be their own soul medicine and want to share that with the world. I'm your host, Emily Villario, pharmacist, witch, and holistic health coach. And I'm so grateful to be joined today by Melissa Morrison, rainbow energy healer. Thank you so much for being here, Melissa.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I like to start these episodes by asking about a risk that you might have taken. I like to call them witchy little risks. For me, it's a positive risk taken with intention to grow in some way. Have you taken any kind of little risk recently to grow or change?
I'd say even just coming here is somewhat of a risk for me because I've never been on a platform like this before.
Yeah.
And really standing in my truth and sharing with the world, like, you know, these are my beliefs and these are what I've come to grow into through my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a perfect segue into what you do for your work, rainbow energy healing. I hadn't heard of it before I met you. And I'm still like very curious and fascinated by your work, especially I think because your background is as an artist. And I think there's just like this lovely synergy there. So before I babble on too much, please share a little bit more about your energy healing work.
Yeah, so it's basically all divinely love-guided energy healing. You know, a little bit more, people are more familiar with Reiki energy healing, and it is very similar to that, but it's more divinely connected to our truth and like directly connecting with Mother, Father, God, or your source, your creator, as you so choose. But it really is about the fundamentals of love and healing through that capacity.
Yeah.
And how I've always been artistically inclined and just creative, and having both of those passions, I've kind of been finding my way integrating them both by offering sort of a meditative mandala class where I guide people through meditating and creatively expressing themselves while just creating a safe, comfortable space for people to feel what they need to feel and express that creatively. Yeah.
I wonder a little bit, the rainbow energy, do you feel like that's, or perhaps do you know, is it energy that you were connected to all along? Is it something we're all connected to? What is this energy?
So rainbow is specific to me personally because my origins are as a rainbow angel, which I know sounds a little bit might sound interesting to some people. So that's why I call it rainbow energy healing, but the foundation is divine touch healing, which I learned that fundamental, and then I have since called it rainbow energy healing because
you're the rainbow.
You're right, I'm the rainbow, and but I do also work with other rainbows, and I'm realizing that I really enjoy helping others awaken to their truth and who they are and how they originated.
So what does that look like in a session, for example? And perhaps how is it different and similar to some other energy healing that someone else might have experienced, like Reiki, when someone comes to see you?
I think it's very similar to what Reiki is because it is tapping into the energy, connecting with the person you're with intentions.
Will you kind of have someone conceptualize those intentions or verbalize those intentions when they come to see you, or write them in some way before starting? Or
yeah, I think typically I'll have them kind of set into what their intentions are, and you know, sometimes they don't really know what that is either. So it's kind of helping to be that space to allow for that to come through for them, whether I'm guided for them in that because they've allowed me to tap into that with them. It's kind of like a co-creating time together. And I forget what your other part of the question was.
Yeah, no worries. So when someone comes in to see you, what the experience looks like. So we're setting the intention, and then what does the session look like kind of from there?
Yeah. and it is typically one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
But we allow people to kind of allow what comes up to come through. Like if there's a specific thing that's present in their life that they want to address, or they want more meaning, or, you know, to work through, we can do a direct focus on that. Or if there's more of like a divine guidance that comes through, then I'll go in that direction as well. But it's geared towards healing and helping to provide some insights that they might otherwise not quite be aware of or awakened to yet. It is a loving approach, and it's just taking it as it comes and guiding people to try to shine light on things that aren't necessarily going in the way that they had hoped or planned, or because that's usually why people see me. Is, you know, it's not, I love that when it's good, but typically it's not always because of good things that people are seeking help.
Right. So what do you find folks are often coming to see you to, like, for help working through?
I mean, there's really a plethora of different things. You know, it's if they're having marital issues, or there's just something not going right in their life that they're just not quite understanding why. And it really all kind of pertains to our emotional well-being and our feelings that are surrounding whatever that is that's a block for us. And it's kind of helping them to see things from a different perspective, or be able to release what it is that's holding them back. And sometimes having that outside perspective is the shift that you need to kind of take that.
Like a mirror almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say, and then you kindly provided it.
And so it's divine touch. So is it like on a bodywork table that is it like laying hands on, or is it something different?
Yeah, so we can do that. It's really specific to each person and their comfort level. So even just sitting and talking like this is basically what I've done. Also over the phone, or on a video chat if people prefer. And then, you know, there is also that physical touch. Some people do find that more comforting and want that more intimate approach. So if that's what they're drawn to, then that's what I will do. It really is based on the comfort level of the individual I'm working with. I try to meet them where they're at. Are there moments when you see release, when you kind of are able to perceive, like, what does that feel like or look like? Or there are moments, and it's different every time. And it's different for every person too. Sometimes, you know, there is a lot of trust involved, right? And it also depends on how open that other individual is to the work that's being done. There's always guidance, and it's always being done, but it's what level are they open to receiving that? But it's been, it's different because sometimes I just feel it. Like I feel physically in my body the release, which is like amazing to have that physical sensation. There have been times where it's just a knowing. And then there's other times where visually I can see things like just lifting off. So it's pretty incredible. And it's like interesting that it does come differently each time, and you really don't know what to expect. Absolutely. But it's amazing every time. And so, you know, so you were an artist initially. What was it that drew you from that space to this healing space? How did you come here? Isn't that how we all got here? I had a lot of stuff I needed to work through. I had a big pivotal moment in 2020. Not only was it a COVID time, but my father had been sick for many years prior, and that was when he succumbed to his sickness in 2020. And after that, it catapulted me into all the things that I hadn't been confronting that I probably should have been, but I was, you know.
No should, right? In all in good time, we find our...
I do believe that there, for the most part, there is a season for things, and there's a rhyme and a reason why things happen when they do. Yeah. So that sort of catapulted me into the healing space. And, I've always known that there was more, like that there was just something that was more to life that I wasn't awakened to or wasn't previously aware of. And so having the guides that I have in my life, physically, human, has really helped me awaken to where I'm at now.
Yeah. On your journey of awakening following your father's passing, were there moments, like synchronistic moments or little, I like to call them cosmic breadcrumbs, that you feel guided you to this work?
Oh, I love it. That's a good question. I'm not sure any really like stand out in my head. I think it was just like a trust more than anything, of like knowing that things are supposed to be better, and I want better for myself. So I think that's really like what kept me like, okay. And that, like there were moments where I would experience things that I'd be like, oh yeah, this is what it's about. Okay. And even though it wasn't consistently every day, and even now it's still not consistently every day, it's just a knowing and understanding of like, it's there.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I open enough for?
Right. I think we talked about this the other day, but the idea that magic is a change in consciousness.
Yes. And I love that.
Me too.
So
right?
much.
It's this like allowing it to happen because it's all here.
It is. It's what we're open
to.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the magic you feel like awakening in you now recently? I know that's maybe a hard question, but
no, it's trusting my truth and like knowing that my intuition has always been there and it has guided me all along, and just being in harmony with that more than ever is like such a blessing and a beautiful place to be.
I think it's so hard for so many of us in this holistic or spiritual or alternative, whatever word you want to call it, space, because it is not mainstream, right? By definition, it's alternative. And it takes tremendous courage to stand in that truth and to say, these are my gifts and they are valuable and they are important and I want to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be able to stand in that, and because even that's kind of a muscle you build over time. Yeah. And I still have my wavering moments.
Yeah.
And especially in society where it like you say, it's not as mainstream. I think people are awakening up to it more and more, which is amazing. Yeah. But it makes you further want to be standing in your truth and in your conviction, because there's so much out there that sort of goes against that as well. Yeah. But I think in a way it's good because it helps you to be like, no, this is it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend the other day, actually, no, it was earlier today, who said, defending yourself gives you a chance to define yourself.
Ooh.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so often we maybe feel marginalized. We feel like we have to defend ourselves and our work and our value. But it's a good thing to be able to do that, right?
Right. Well, and I noticed that the more we accept that of ourselves, the more the world accepts that of us as well.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like,
we are the magic.
Yep. And it like what I'm coming to know 1,000% is the world is a mirror of everything we're holding inside of ourselves.
Absolutely. Have you had mirror moments recently? Or maybe,
I feel like all the time.
Right.
We're all like, wait, is that you or is that me? It's probably a mix of both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's so much there that it's hard to pinpoint exactly where those mirror moments are.
Like every waking moment, we are looking
just,
in a mirror and reflecting back.
Yeah. The good and the maybe not so good. But it is, again, it's also a perception of how we see it too. So
such a good point, right? What we might consider to be negative emotions or negative experiences, we can just as easily look at them as, oh, that was just something to learn from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And learning to kind of embrace it and love yourself through it. That's one of the biggest things that I've had to learn, and I'm still.
It's a lifetime practice.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But yeah, for me anyway. Maybe not for everyone. Some people maybe figure it out.
But yeah, it's about loving your way through it no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. What helps you do that? Like, what are some of the kind of tools that you have that you might be willing to share?
So toning is a huge one.
Okay.
Especially when. What was that?
What's toning?
So it's like oming.
Yeah.
It's the different even if it's just like something resonating in you that you need to express some sort of sound, continual sound.
Yeah.
Like the singing bowls, that type of sound. Those are very helpful, especially when I'm starting to like feel like I'm really in my head. Excuse me.
Interesting. Meditation can be hard for some folks, but having an ally like a sound.
Even having like music in the background that doesn't necessarily have words, but kind of helps to take you to a different space.
Yeah.
Because what I've been learning through the energy healing work is it's all about sensing and feeling.
Yeah.
And in order to sense and feel, you kind of have to turn that logical side off. And that's all society's ever taught you to do is like logic, like think with your brain, think with your brain. So it's like completely different way of being to come from that perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like to think about the clair senses, right? We have, clair audience, that clear hearing, clairvoyance is one, maybe people have heard of, clear seeing the future, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder, maybe it's part of that, maybe it's a separate thing from that, but just perceiving energy, right? We've been able to quantify and qualify our sense of sight and sound and touch and our interoception and our proprioception. We have all of these senses we've defined and measured. What do you think about the idea of perceiving energy?
I think people do perceive energy on different levels. Like some people see auras. I haven't quite worked my way up to that yet.
Yeah.
But I believe, so we all have the capacity. I believe, like, to my core, that we are all intuitive humans. We all are psychics. We're all mediums. We all have that capacity. It's really what we're opening ourselves up to. And so because of that, I believe energy, we can see it if we're open and allowing ourselves to be there and experience it and feel it. Like when I'm helping people release and work through their energy, like I can't explain. I'll be like, did you feel that? They're like, yep, I felt that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm sensing this in my top shoulder. Have you been having issues with that? They'll be like, yes. So I do believe that there is a way. But it's all about what we're open to and allowing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, we had this conversation the other day about the idea of the placebo, or kind of thinking about how illness maybe is really just a construct. It's that's maybe not the right word.
I think it's something we can all fall into because of the societal structures that we've had, but it's all energy.
Right.
So it could be energy for good and I hate to say good or bad, because even that is a matter of perspective. But it comes down to your beliefs. Everything is about your beliefs. If you believe that this pill is going to help you feel better, it's going to help you feel better.
Yeah.
If you believe, and there's also the conscious and the subconscious beliefs, which is a whole nother layer. Sometimes you subconsciously have a belief that you don't realize you do.
Exactly.
Which is why things are popping up the way they are, even though you think you're this way. So it's layers.
Yeah.
There's layers.
We're such little onions, aren't we?
We are. We smell better than that, but yes.
We do.
At least I hope we
Some
do.
of us.
But yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I've been fascinated by this idea too. As a pharmacist, right, all along my tools were medications, right? And that's kind
what
of
worked for you at that time.
Yeah. It's funny though. I will say pharmacists tend to be, most of the pharmacists I've met were stewards of medicine, right? We're not the ones that have the trigger reaction, like take this. No, we're more like, okay, what have we tried? Because
can I ask you something?
Please ask. Yeah.
Was there something that happened with you that kind of like clicked in your head to
absolutely.
like cause you to think like there
Yeah.
has to be something more?
Yeah, definitely. So I was obese, and I was prescribing the weight loss injectables all day. So there was this like interesting cognitive dissonance happening, right? Like I was, trying to coach people and help people live healthier lives and have better health outcomes. And meanwhile, I was kind of struggling with my own health journey. And I kind of, it's a story maybe for another day, but I ended up starting to exercise, which there were other things too, but the energy I was able to reclaim by just making my physical body more efficient, the energy that I then had to think and process, I got my curiosity back. I was able to read and inquire and learn. And then it became a natural progression into the world of woo-woo, because that's where we don't know the answers yet, right? And it's and as I was having these conversations with folks and counseling them on taking these medications, I started to think, well, gosh, so much of your experience with this medicine is happening internally. It's I think this is a total hypothesis, but I think that placebos work when we have coherence in soul, heart, mind, and then body follows. So we maybe find we're intuitively pulled somewhere, and we don't have to think about that, right? Someone ends up in my office, they're there, right? So we have our kind of our soul, our intuition has led us here. Then we have the mind, right? So I think if someone is, if something makes sense to your conscious mind, you can kind of talk through the logic of it, right? Someone can explain to you in a compelling way why the medication works, how it works. We have some buy-in from your conscious mind.
Right.
And then your heart, if you feel supported, you feel loved by the person there holding the space for you, we have that on board. And then I think the body follows suit. I think then, so many experiences can be powerful healing experiences, whether it's a medicine. And I think, right now we've sort of collectively bought into the ritual of going to the doctor's office, of, having your weight checked and, having your vitals checked and sitting there and having a visit with the doctor. Like that whole ritual is imbued with power for healing. It's becoming less powerful in recent years, unfortunately.
Wake up, though. Yeah.
The more people are finding, they're not getting what they need in that space. But yeah, it's, I think that's one of the impetuses behind this show, is helping people see there are infinite ways to heal. It's about you, and where do you feel you're going to find healing.
Yeah. And everybody's journey is different.
Everyone's journey is different.
Everybody's needs are different.
Exactly.
But I do also fundamentally believe that our bodies hold consciousness.
Yes.
And the consciousness that it holds stems back as many lifetimes as we have.
Yes.
And it holds on to that until we heal it.
Exactly.
So that's another piece just to add to that flavor.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. So the body holds consciousnesses, like a plural consciousnesses.
I don't know if it's plural, but but our lifetimes.
Yes.
It holds our life, a history of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And that which isn't healed gets rolled over. And that's my belief, which, you know, people don't necessarily have to believe themselves. But I believe it.
It's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about like ancestral stories and consciousness and trauma, right, that we carry with us too.
Those pieces are there too, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. These sort of unresolved stories that we hear. And it, you know, we've been able to kind of track trauma on a cellular level, right? If you think about this. Yeah. So like when your grandmother was 5 months pregnant with your mother, your mother's fetus had all of the precursor cells that would one day become the egg that made you. So when your grandmother was pregnant, experiences traumatic moments, you know, it impacted the expression, not the genetic code, not the DNA, but the way that code would be expressed down the road. So if we think about, you know, people who are maybe more prone to stress or you know, other kind of experiences like that.
I wouldn't know a thing about that.
Right? None of us know about stress or trauma, right? What's that? Yeah, but it's kind of, it's there physicly. And it certainly manifests in so many other ways too.
Yes, it can. Yeah. But I love the idea that my grandmother held me.
Yes, your grandmother.
It's like, it's just incredible. I lost my grandmother when I was 13.
Me too, yeah.
So it was young, but just the idea of like, there's just something so incredible about that and powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about too. You know, you're an energy healer. Our mitochondria, that's the organelle in our cell that is, we've always sort of called it the powerhouse of the cell. It's what turns our food into energy in the form of ATP that powers everything. Our mitochondria is directly inherited from mother to child. We all get our little energy capacity generators from our mothers and grandmothers before that.
That
and
explains a lot. Does it? I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah. But I definitely want to make sure that we talk about where people can find you and your energy healing, your unique, very beautiful modality. If someone wanted to come meet you, how would they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on, my website is rainbowhealer.com. I'm available for phone calls, in-person sessions in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. And I'm also on Instagram. I'm still developing my offerings, but essentially, like, I just want to help heal and help support people in their awakening. And, you know, life can be challenging. So
yeah, absolutely.
all the support we can get is key.
Right? We have about 30 seconds left, but I just wanted to ask, in closing, if you could be the best in the world at one thing, what would it be?
Loving myself unconditionally.
Oh, that hits, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna, that's my answer now too.
Yeah. Please pass it on.
Yeah.
That's been a key for me. Yeah.
That's how we love the world, right?
The self-love.
Starts here.
It does. It starts within.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Thank you so much for being here, Melissa. And thanks for tuning in to Witchy and Well Soul Medicine. We'll see you next time.